All right, it's getting serious. We got the motor out of the WRX already, still putting this together. Gonna work on getting the cams in today. All right, we still got a fair amount of assembly lube from the machine shop and from when I first installed the cams. Took them back out, just wanted to recheck and set the cams in. Intake, left side, we're on the left side head. This is the top of the motor. Cam lobes, see, I almost put it in the wrong way. Cam lobes should both be facing upwards, similar to that. Don't want to rotate it too much and get the assembly lube over here in this area because we will need to seal that up with some RTV. I did the first time I put these on with the RTV on those front cam caps, but there was a little bit extra in there and it did get into the journal with actual oiled surface of the cam. So I'm going to double check the FSM. I don't know if you can see, but there is a little bit of RTV seeping into the cam journal right there. I was trying to be pretty conservative when I first put this on, but obviously it was a little too much, so I'm going to adjust that when we go back together. Start with the caps. They are all labeled E for exhaust, number 4 for number 4 cylinder. We'll just get these started.
I'm going to add a little bit more assembly lube back here, just to keep everything. Put a little on here too, it wouldn't hurt, right? I'm getting it all over here, maybe it's good, maybe it's not. Let's see, cam caps are labeled, I for ignition, 4 for the number 4 cylinder. Just get these started. Ignition, 4E, here. Alright, gonna reclean these cam caps one more time, and we'll get some sealant applied to them.
All right, so this is from the 2005 FSM for the 2.0 and the sealant path looks like. So from what I can tell, it looks like we're coming on the outside of the cam seal right there, around the inside, just to the back side of that bolt hole. And I think this is, actually I think this is where the cam journal is, but just want to be real careful around this area and this area over here. Let's go take a look at those caps and see what they look like. So it does look like we come on the inside of this bolt hole and then back around to the back side. I'm just going to use a very small amount of RTV in that. Might be able to tell where I went here, around the cam seal over here, all the way up around the bolt hole, and then just a very fine edge on the outer edge back here where the cam journal is. I think you're only supposed to come back to right here, but just did a little bit right there for extra sealing. So we're gonna add a little bit assembly lube, like right there, like this. Hopefully just set it down. All right, let's try the same thing for this one. Permatex Ultra Gray. I think that's what we're supposed to be using here.
Just kind of dab it around like that. Just go barely around that bolt hole. Damn, keep knocking the camera. Just like that, and then we're just going to do a slight little edge, just like that, right there. Not too much. These are like pretty tightly machined surfaces, so I noticed when I took them off just a minute ago after my first attempt at resealing it, it had it like all spread out, smushed out from the inside, and there's just a small bead on the outside, consequently in that cam journal as well. So I think we don't need a whole lot. I did go just a little bit further back than I wanted to right there. Let's just do this. There we go. Just a little bit like that. Cool. I think we're going to call that good. Gonna run them down gently. If anything, I think this is gonna be, probably went a little too much. I do want to try and actually let this sit for a second and let it cure up before I torque it all the way down. So I'm gonna get these, probably just be getting them finger tight. Just gonna use the socket, I guess, and just kind of do a little something like that. Do the same back here, just hopefully keep everything aligned. Got a little bit of a assembly lube on that journal cam cap thing, but I think we'll be okay. There's a lot on the bottom. Those cam caps look like they're already scored up anyway, so we're just about to find out what happened. Oh, one more cap. Alright, gonna give this a couple minutes, we'll come back, torque it, and then check the valve clearance.
Alright, we're back on the 2005 2.0 engine FSM, tightening torque T1, 9.75 Newton meters. Also, that was the issue on the last time I put these in. I actually did it in foot-pounds instead of Newton meters. I do have the foot-pound equivalent. But T2, 20 Newton meters, and then we see the tightening torque procedure, A, B, C, D, E, F. So top to bottom, front, back, middle, and then same thing for the exhaust cam, top to bottom, front, back, middle. All right, close we get 9.8. It does say to do them in stages, 2 stages. So we're just gonna do this until it just shows up, maybe like 5 foot-pounds. We are in the correct unit as well. Let's
stop at 5. I did let this sealant cure for about, I don't know, what was that, 5-10 minutes? 5. And then these back ones go all the way up to 20 foot-pounds. So our first stage is going to be, we'll just call it 10 foot-pounds, about half of what it should be. And we're going from top to bottom, front, back, middle. All right, full torque. It says 9.75 or something like that. I think 10 will be okay. On the STI engine with the AVCS heads, it does say to go all the way up to 10 foot-pounds. We'll call that 10. We'll call that good. 999. We'll call that good. And then we're going up to 20 foot-pounds for the middle and back cam caps. Top to bottom, back. Add a little bump in the road. 20 foot-pounds. I'm good angle on this. 20 foot-pounds. 20 foot-pounds. 20 foot-pounds. So all these are torqued. Let's go back and do the exhaust cam. So we're going back to 9.755. Top to bottom, front, middle, back. 10. 10. Come back here, full torque. T1 on the smaller bolts, 9.7. Top to bottom. There we go. Can you even see the torque wrench? No, can't even see what I'm doing. That's the last one. All torque.
looking at valve clearance. You can see for the intake, 0.2 millimeters plus or minus 0.02. Exhaust is 0.035 millimeters plus or minus 0.02. And then this is actually the STI 2.5 motor with the AVCS cams. It actually is the same spec. So we'll start on the intake cam. We are looking for 0.02 millimeters. So this one right here on this set of feeler gauges. Then we also have this set has a little bit different measurements as well. So we'll check it out. All right, spec is 0.2 millimeters for the intake. They do want you to rotate the point of the cam lobes facing away from the bucket. And we do see this is not going through there, not going through there. Let's check these back too. Not going through, not going through. So it's tighter than the 0.2 millimeters. Let's do the 0.18 just to see what happens. 0.18. Not going in, not going in, not going in. Let's check the 0.15. 0.15 goes in nice and easy there, pretty easy there. Oops, let's check these. Pretty easy there, real easy there. So if I had to guess, we're somewhere between 0.15 and 0.18. All right, back on the exhaust cam, we're looking at 0.35 millimeters. Too tight, too tight, too tight, too tight. Is right there, 0.33 millimeters. Let's see if we can get this one in. Tight, 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 and tight. Let's go one more down. Hopefully this next shim will fit in. 0.30. Goes in there. Snug. Oh, bumped the camera. So it's going in the back valves, but not in the front ones. Let's go down one more. So we'll call that 0.30, that 0.30. Let's go down one more and see where we're at. 0.28. Getting real tight now. Damn, still not going in. 0.28 goes in easy there. Still not going in. Something's going on with these front ones. Goes in easy there. 0.25. Does not go in. So here's our specs for the left-hand side head. We got the intake, pretty even, 0.15 millimeters all the way across. Exhaust, a little goofy, 0.25 and 0.3, 2.5, 2.3. Definitely on the tighter side of the spec. Is it going to blow up? Probably not. I'm going to put the other side cams in, check those specs, compare them, and maybe reach out, see if we need to make any adjustments. Where are we at? So I torqued all the cams on to the heads with the incorrect torque. I thought I'd gone back and done it the correct way. I just turned on the torque wrench again, found out I was still in foot-pounds instead of newton meters. Final torque should be 20 newton meters, not foot-pounds, on the back two cam caps. On the front cam caps with the cam seal should be the 9.75, whatever. All those torqued slightly too tight. That might affect the valve clearance just a little bit. This is what I came up with. I don't know if you can see all that. Left side, right side, intake and exhaust. These are all the measured values. I got the measured value of the gap in millimeters, thousandths, the actual bucket size number, the number that's on the back of the bucket, and then I actually measured each bucket with a micrometer to get a approximate value, and they all came out really close to matching up. So I don't think any of the buckets have been shimmed. That was my main concern there. And then if you come over here to the FSM, you can see there's a little equation to how to calculate the correct bucket size that's needed. Basically, you just take the difference of how tight it is. Since all mine were too tight, then take it off the bucket, and then that should be your new bucket size. So we did all that, and we have all the, I don't know if you can read this, calculated bucket sizes. So of course all the bucket sizes were off. I was able to swap, I think, 3 of them out. Only one on the intake on the right hand side head was within spec. And then I ended up swapping 3 of the other buckets into these 3 exhaust valves on the right-hand side and was able to get these 3 correct. So that way I only needed to order 4, 8, 12 new buckets. Got them in a list. Got them in a list right here. They all kind of go in sequential order. They actually have all the part numbers in the FSM. So I got the part numbers, called Subaru. Of course, they had none of these in stock. But I ordered them all the ones that I needed. Of course, these are calculated with the torque in foot-pounds, 20 foot-pounds instead of 20 newton meters. Let's just see how much tighter that is. I think we can tell if we just switch the units. That's foot-pounds, 20 foot-pounds. So if we were to go to newton meters, so we're 7.1 newton meters over what we should have torqued it at. It probably will affect the valve clearance very slightly. Also, I have heard that loose motor is a happy motor. Same thing with the valve clearances on a Subaru motor. If the valve clearances are too tight, it could be more detrimental, cause more problems, could cause valves to be open when they're not supposed to be, causing misfires, so you have a lot of other problems. If you go a little bit on the looser side, worst case scenario, you might have a slight amount of valve chatter, very slight. So a tiny bit of valve noise or engine noise, which is almost, normal, or you can have too tight and misfires. We just pulled this motor out, so I thought we would have a full set of 16 buckets in here, right? No, these are actually all the shim over bucket style buckets. So there's a shim on top of the bucket. So I couldn't reuse any of these in the motor that we pulled. Like I said, just called Subaru, got them all ordered, so they should be here tomorrow. In order to take the cams off this motor, I did have to take the whole timing cover and everything off. Had to take all the cam gears off, which is difficult with Subaru motors. So we'll upload a little video on that as well with all my struggles.